Man, I love splitting videos into parts lately. I don't know what's going on. But welcome back, guys. We're still talking about Gatecrash, how my pre-release weekend went. Now we're going to talk about cards that did friggin' work, that showed up a half hour early to work. Like, they're supposed to be there at 8, but they got there at 7:30. They put in a full day of work at the pre-release for me. And we're also going to talk about cards that interest me. We're going to just kind of sandwich these together. This is kind of a card that I was wrong about, but it's also a card that did a ton of work for me. It would be Shamble Shark. Now, I didn't really highlight this. This is really the only thing that I'm going to say is I didn't really highlight this, I don't think, in my previous video, which is that this guy has Flash. So the idea behind this guy is not to just lay him as a creature. It is to lay him in such a fashion that he flashes in, buffs your blockers, and you're able to more favorably block or attack for that matter, because you want him to be able to flash in when he is going to buff your creatures. A lot of times, I would say, this happened with, what was it, Krukana or whatever, the 1/3 Reach Evolver. There are a lot of flyers in the set, and they would be coming in with 3 power or something. You wouldn't necessarily kill them, but you flash in Shamble Shark, they're tapped down, you get a good block in, and then you can attack the next turn. A lot of times to great results. Let's talk about one more Simic card, and that will be Fathom Mage. Mostly I love this card because of the promo art. The Dan Scott art is freaking mind-blowing, and I ended up trading my way to a third one of these guys. But so now I'm obsessed with getting a fourth one so that I can complete my playset of the Dan Scott art Fathom Mages, a card that I will not even play in Standard, I don't imagine. So it's just kind of funny, but I love the art on that card, and it did work in Limited. It's going to be good in Limited because you never want green to get too many cards. Not to mention the fact that it grows up and it gets bigger. So let's talk about the Evolve mechanic, not just simply in the Simic colors, but let's talk about the Evolve mechanic as a whole, and that's going to bring up 2 other cards that did quite a bit of work for me. The first one being Miming Slime. Now, this card is amazing because for some reason, I always seemed to get it with Adaptive Snapjaw. So, however it happened, I'd either have Adapted Snapjaw, and then I'd draw Miming Slime, or vice versa. But I would play Adaptive Snapjaw, they wouldn't be able to kill it. Next turn, I would have a 6/6 and a 7/3 out. Miming Slime is amazing. I actually really like this card in Limited. I don't think I'm going to be able to work it into a Standard deck, but I don't know. It's very strong. I like it a lot. And it's very, very powerful and Limited, especially with this Evolve mechanic around. And the final Evolve card that I just find interesting is Greer Sage. Now, this card is good and Limited. I don't think it's going to make it into Standard, especially with Arbor Elf being able to untap every dual land now, or every combination of lands that you could want if you want to splash something in your green deck. But Greer Sage is interesting because it is a mana ramp creature that stays relevant on the board. And I really like where they're going with this card. Just like theoretically or intellectually, I really like where this card is heading just based on that. The fact that Greer Sage is mana ramp that they are actively trying to make stay relevant makes me think that big things are going to be coming out, and really exciting things are going to be coming out down the road. Maybe not even in the next several sets, but you know, just down the road. I think they're really looking at the big picture of how they want the game to evolve, and I do like being able to drop this creature early, have it mana ramp you, have that increase, and have it be an able-bodied blocker on the field as well. Do you know how often I blocked with Birds of Paradise and I was like happy about it? I was like smiling. I was like, Birds of Paradise is blocking. Actually, a ton, because I run Gavney Township. When you beat someone to death with a Bird of Paradise, that's a good feeling. But anyway, you know what my point is. I just like this card from an ideal standpoint. I don't know. I'll have to play more with it in a Standard format to see what happens with that. A couple more cards that really knocked it out of the park for me. One in particular would be Active Treason. Active Treason showed up. It's not my favorite card because they get their dude back. But the fact that you can just bash him in the face or do it and then pit fight, that's a sick combo. If you do this correctly, you can Active Treason their creature. You can attack in, okay? They'll block it as a chump, like to chump block it. Because they don't want to lose their large creature, and this is exactly what happened while I played it. You can attack in, they will chump block it, they will weaken it to the point where you can pit fight after the damage has been dealt, and then have their creature kill another one of their creatures while it dies. So essentially, through those two cards, you got rid of 3 of their creatures, and you've completely opened up the board. Of course, Active Treason also worked out really nicely with your Blood Rush cards. If you didn't have a creature out, but you had Active Treason, you could just be like, hey, let me borrow that dude over there. Let me Blood Rush him with Rubble Hulk and just win. So it was pretty good. I liked Active Treason in the set. I liked it in the limited very much. And the 2 more cards, actually, that I want to talk about. 3 more cards, I think. The first of which, of those 3, in the Boros colors now we're kind of going into, is Boros Keyrune. Like I said in my other video, this was just kind of a beat stick for me in conjunction with a couple other cards. I think this might be the best Keyrune or my favorite Keyrune, just because it has double strike. I really enjoy having that double strike out on the field, and used in conjunction with a couple of the other cards in the set, it can be very powerful. Frontline Medic is a card that I sung the praises of when we were talking about it in the pre-release video, and I really do just love the idea behind this card just because it's so powerful. I don't like it being played against. I don't like the fact that white has counterspell. I don't like being played against me. I don't know if I love it in standard because a 3 in the ass is pretty easy to get rid of, and he is largely vulnerable to removal, and he will be a massive removal target. But the thing that I wanted to talk about with him is that I said I wouldn't, but I did play Hellraiser Goblin once. And the only time I did it was because, the only reason I did it was because I pulled 2 Frontline Medics. And I knew in a 40 card deck that there was a good chance that I would have Hellraiser Goblin and Frontline Medic. And that's all I wanted. That's all I needed. Because if you can drop that Goblin, your second main, and then the next turn you drop a Frontline Medic, you're looking very favorable right there. Because you get to swing in for your full force indestructible power. It was just really good. I liked that combo quite a bit, but it was the only time I would ever touch Hellraiser Goblin. I don't like having to bash in. You guys know this if you've watched any of my other videos, but I do like Frontline Medic. So those are kind of all the cards that I liked that played well for me. Overall, I think my favorite guild would be Simic. I just really liked how it played. I had a lot of fun. And I think I went into that event with the most cheery attitude too, so that might be something with it. But I looked at my friend and I didn't expect it to do well. So I looked at my friend and I said, I'm just here to draw some cards. That's all I want to do. If I draw one card that's not during my draw step during each game, I'll be happy. That's what I said to him. I was like, I just want to draw cards. I don't give a shit. I don't care about winning. I don't care about playing these people. I just want to draw cards, and I went 4-0. I drew my way to the top. So I really liked Simic when I played it by myself, and I loved Simic when I played it with Andrew and Two-Headed Giant. I just loved that. I loved the mechanic. I just really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Overall, I don't think this set's going to give us too many cards to look for in Standard, which is kind of weird. I think there are some outliers that are kind of standouts that we might see. I'm putting together a little Standard deck that I'm going to show you here in a minute on the Gatecrash. So we'll be taking a look at that and seeing how that works out. But as for right now, I just don't think there are a huge amount of cards that we're going to be seeing make the shift into Standard. This is going to be one of the most fun limited sets I think we've had in a while. RTR kind of let me down as far as limited goes, but I had a blast playing this, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the draft format works for it. all in all, I'd have to say Simic was my favorite. My least favorite had to be Gruul, and it's not just because my win records reflect my feelings on those guilds. I won the most with Simic, and I lost the most with Gruul. Dimir wasn't exactly the shining star that I wanted it to be either. But, you know, Simic, Boros, those were both really good. They were fun. I feel like there was a lot of Boros out there, though, so I feel like Simic was the more surprising of the two. I feel like you got to trick your opponents a little bit more with the Simic deck than you did with the Boros cards. But all in all, that's my impressions of kind of the Gatecrash pre-release, at least. We're going to get together again real soon and talk about my thoughts and my brewing methods for going into post-Gatecrash. Damn it, I did say it wrong. I had to say it again to make sure I said it wrong. Post-Gatecrash standard. So we'll get back together and talk about that real soon. But for right now, I just, hope you guys enjoyed your pre-release. Go ahead and shoot me a line down in the comments and let me know how you did. Let me know if you had fun, and let me know what guilds you played, or what strategies you brought into the events and how they changed and evolved while you played. Because I think that my preconceived notions were vastly different than what I ended up walking away with. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, you guys, and I will see you on the next one.